heard of Buzz Aldrin? It's a pretty famous name. I'm sure you've heard it before. He was the second guy to set foot on the moon. He was with Neil Armstrong at that first moon landing, and it's quite amazing to hear a bit of his story. You know, my husband is so into space and the space development thing, and he was telling me just the other night a little bit about Buzz Aldrin and what happened with him. So he comes down from this amazing, life-changing peak of his career experience. And what happens is he quits NASA because he's not going to fly again. And he ends up deeply depressed, alcoholic, and really, really struggling with his mental health. And when Brett told me that, I was just thinking, wow, that's amazing. You know, we keep hearing it's not the money you make, it's not the job you do, it's not your success, it's not the things that you do that are going to help you to feel well in your life, that are going to help you to be happy or to be well. They, in the moment, are just your experience in the moment. And then it's amazing to me that after that you can go down back to earth and be depressed and alcoholic after achieving so much, after being this national hero, probably a worldwide hero. And to me, it's just this proof time and time again. It's not what you do, it's not where you get to. So we need to start looking in a different place for our mental well-being, for our mental health, for our emotional well-being. If it was how well you did, the place that you got to, the success that you had in your life that made you feel good, Buzz Aldrin would be running around happy as a little pig, had no problem at all, never be unhappy again, because he would be top of the world. So what is the solution to being happy, to being well, to having emotional well-being, regardless of what the outside environment brings to us? And the answer to that question is, we have to learn to navigate our internal world. It's not happening on the outside as we expect it to be, as we think it is. The only thing that the outside world is doing is it's coming to us and saying, hey, do you want to think a little bit? And we're answering, hell yes, I want to think. And normally we're saying, yes, I want to think, and it's not going to be good. So we have to really learn to think and to process and to experience ourselves in a way that is mentally healthy and mentally well. And it's my personal opinion that our only responsibility, our greatest responsibility in the whole of our world experience is to be able to do the best that we can for ourselves to be mentally well. And often we know that, so we go and we say, well, I hate this job, I'm not doing this job anymore, I'm never going to be here again, it makes me feel bad. But it's not the job that's making you feel bad. Or we say, oh, you know, if I just had a new car, if I just had more money, if I just had a decent salary, then I'd feel good. I've had clients that say to me, you know, I've always felt really bad about myself because I never went and got a degree. Well, I have 2 degrees, and let me tell you, I learned 100 times more in the school of life than I ever learned from a degree. So as far as I'm concerned, that degree was like, yeah, it was just another 4 years of schooling. It really didn't do that much for me. We keep measuring ourselves by the wrong thing. We keep looking in the wrong place to be well, to feel good, to have a sense of emotional well-being. We have to look from the inside out. And what that means is we have to see what is going on for me in my chatter. What am I buying into in that chatter? What am I believing is true in that chatter? How am I reacting to that? Now, most of the time our chatter is so happening in the background, it's so happening in our unconscious mind, we're not even aware that we're doing something. And this is where the emotional system is so valuable to us, because we have all of these emotions that come up and we say, wow, you know, I really didn't like that. I didn't like that feeling. I felt sad, or I felt bad, or I felt anxious, or I felt less than, or I felt not enough. And when we feel happy, we say, oh, that's amazing. I feel happy. I wish I could stay in this space forever. And I feel ecstatic, and I feel loved, and I feel kindness, and I feel compassion, and I wish I could stay here forever. And the truth of the matter is that's not part of the design. We can't do that. If it was part of the design, it would be easy. But it's not part of the design. The design is that we have this amazing full spectrum, this range of emotions that our heart is capable of feeling. And we really want to be able to be okay with that full range of emotions, to be able to sit with happiness and just experience and say, wow, isn't it amazing that I get to experience this? To sit with fear and say, oh wow, that's fear. This body is designed to feel fear. What's going on here? Is there something even that's going on? And if there is, thank you very much for this message. Fear has a very strong, very valuable purpose to us when it is actual fear from an actual experience. It's what saves our lives. But what do? We go, oh geez, I'm feeling some fear. It must be true and real. Let me jump into it. Oh wait, maybe I made that up. Anyway, it seems very true to me, so let me jump into it some more. Let me make it more than it is. And so we get very stuck in our feelings. But all our feelings are doing is that they're a gyroscope. They're a gyroscope in like our little airplane model. We're flying along and something happens and feeling comes along to say, hey, something's going on here. And the reason that we as human beings tend to pay more attention to negative or bad feeling, let's call it that, it's just feeling. There's really nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad about it. But we don't dig it. So the reason that we pay more attention to bad feeling is that we think something's going on here. Well, that's true. Something is going on here. We want to be able to pay more attention to bad feeling because something is going on here and it's not really good for us. So when we fall into a depression, which I know some of you have experienced in the past in a very, very deep way, when we fall into a depression, we say, oh, there must be something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my life. There's something wrong with my chemicals. I've got to go and throw some more drugs in here to try and solve this problem. But actually, depression is saying to you, there is something wrong with you. There's something wrong with the way that you're processing life. It's not working for you. There's something wrong with the way that you're doing life. It's not working for you. Of course, our response is to go to life and say, well, let me change all of these things outside of myself. Let that be the things that I change because that's the stuff that I can see, that's the thing that I can understand, and that's the thing that I appear to respond to. That's not what needs to be changed. What needs to be changed is the way that I do life in here. How am I doing life in here? When I start to see how I am creating from the inside out my feelings, then when those feelings come around, they're a good warning, a good gyroscope that says, hey, your plane was flying along, now it's heading towards the ground. Wah, 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 depression, anxiety, fatigue, sense of not enoughness, not okayness, not being all right. When we pay attention to that gyroscope, it says to us, look to your thinking, look to the way that you're processing life. Our interpretation is, look to the outside, fire him, send her on her way, that person's really horrible, get rid of this job, get a new car, get a new house, do something else. It doesn't work. Well, except for the first 5 minutes of your new car where you're like, woo, this is exciting. So that's the message for today. Look to your gyroscope. Bad feeling is not bad. It's not bad feeling. It's telling you that you're processing the world in a way that doesn't work for you, that is not successful for you. And so it's time to look at your belief systems. It's time to look at the feelings that are driving you. It's time to look at what is this behavior about that makes me feel bad or that I'm behaving in response to a bad feeling. What's going on here for me? And when you can do that, you can start to have these beautiful insights that will change instantaneously the way that you do your life. And I'm excited for you about that.